I was waiting for my special cantata. What is it called?
Oh,
it's a sweet.
You got another one of those?
No, he was telling me about a special carrata. What is it called? Shakerado.
Yeah,
that's a 1% drink. I would believe it. That drink is for the 1%ers. A shaken cortado.
You asked me when I was in here. It's Blizzard. It's Blizzard 26.
Blizzard 26.
It's the Blizzard 26.
That sounds like a password, not a weather condition.
Exclamation, or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Blizzard 26, exclamation, if you want to get Jamel's millions. But it literally... When I was driving in here this morning, it started to snow again. And in my mind, I'm like, I thought we were done with this snow. Clearly, we are not done with this snow. But I will tell you, it didn't bother me. Because remember yesterday during the text, you were like, well, if people can't get in the condition. New York, I'll say this. And I'm going to say for many folks, Sunday night, the snow came. Monday, everybody was in a crib. Tuesday, the roads were clear. People were moving around. I went and got my nails done. You would have thought that I was having prairie-like conditions, Little House on the Prairie-like conditions. And the only thing that was about was because I didn't have Wi-Fi. And my lights were flickering here and there. What would we do without the information highway? What would we do without Wi-Fi?
So how did you entertain yourself without Wi-Fi?
I have a bunch of movies downloaded on my computer, so I just started watching those. Just old movies that you've seen before. I could use my hotspot, and I've been using my hotspot a lot lately, so I worked with that. But it was just a tough ass, honey. I was barely surviving.
Look at you.
It felt like prehistoric ages. But no, I was good. I cooked. I made tacos. My tacos did miss one thing, though. Because that's the only thing I can cook. Guess what it did?
It's tacos. But I thought you said you could cook 5 things.
I have 5 things, but this is like, tacos was bomb. Like, this will get me married. But guess what it was missing?
Your tacos will get you married.
Don't even do it. Don't even play. Because you don't even.
I just am asking a question, Cari.
It's so disrespectful. Yeah.
Okay, your tacos will get you married. Okay,
don't try to get back serious. Don't try to get... Don't journal me. Don't journalist me.
I will...
It was missing ketchup, though. I didn't have the condiments.
It was not missing ketchup.
I just want to tell you, I just said that, and Andrew looked at me like I was crazy. I see him out of the corner of my eye.
Because you are crazy.
He just looked up out of nowhere.
That is crazy to do.
I cannot believe he did that. Andrew is rude. Okay? I had a crush on him until then, just now, because he just looked up and was like, what?
Now it's gone.
It's gone.
Because any sane person hears ketchup on tacos.
That's not true.
Immediately, it's a cry for help.
And no, it's not a cry for help.
It's a cry for help.
It must be a West Coast thing because my friend Marcy sent me a text and she was like, I love ketchup on my tacos. I guess it's and let me get even more specific. It has to be an LA thing.
Don't. This is not, Harriet Tubman did not point us and lead us toward the North Star for you to be putting ketchup on tacos.
That's exactly what Harriet wanted. She wanted me to live the life that I am living.
Harriet would never have wanted this for you.
Harriet 100%. Why did Martin march?
He did not march for you to have tacos with ketchup on them.
Why did Malcolm X?
He did not. Malcolm X didn't say by any means necessary for you to be putting ketchup on tacos.
Why did Rosa refuse?
She didn't refuse to get up for them white folk for you to be putting ketchup on tacos. Shirley Chisholm did not run for president.
What is the civil rights movement about?
Because Cari,
this is Black History Month.
No, I hear you putting ketchup on tacos, and immediately, reflexively, I'm wondering where my freedom papers are. I'm just wondering where they are. Because right now, and by the way, despite all the wonderful things that we talked about in our last episode, because I think you said this toward the end, what people responded to the most is when they learned their dear sweet elegant hood lady, Cari Champion, was putting ketchup on tacos.
That really upset people.
That upset people.
I don't know why.
Cari, it's an upsetting thing to learn.
Okay, so it's not so what is ketchup made of? I just want to break this down and I'll move on.
Okay, here we go. So this is your justification because it's tomato based. And then you're going to compare it to salsa because you're a terrorist. I get it. No, it does not. In general, I have a thing against ketchup with the exception if you do it on French fries, but I kind of believe what former President Barack Obama said, which is ketchup is for children. Ketchup is not a grown condiment. It is for children.
I've never said I was an adult. I've never told you once
Well,
that I was an adult.
that
My
is
behavior
fair.
is indicative
That is
of someone
fair.
who loves ketchup. So therefore, it's fine. You don't like ketchup on your burgers? You don't like a
Not
sloppy
really.
burger with like cheese and
No.
ketchup and mustard?
No.
Maybe a little mayonnaise, maybe some relish.
Mayonnaise. Oh my God. You know what? Harriet might have left you. Mayonnaise.
Okay, what do you think? What do you think is on the Big Mac secret sauce? What do you think the secret sauce is on the Big Mac?
I know, which is why I never like Big Macs, because it's something about mayonnaise to me is repulsive. It is by far the most.
You eat potato salad.
Condiment.
You eat potato salad.
But that's different though.
How is that different? You like the black people who like, I don't eat pork. You're like, I don't eat pork, but I just have bacon.
Pork.
No, but you're folks like, I don't eat pork, but I have pepperoni.
I ain't one of them black people. Pork raised me. Pork will continue to raise me.
If you literally have potato salad, you've had mayonnaise. Go ahead. You had a fish fillet.
But we
you had a
like
fish fillet. You had tartar sauce.
Fish fillet is gross. I do not subscribe. I am not at all a supporter of fish fillet. I think fish fillets are terrible. That and that nasty ass McRib. They can take them. They can put them in a box.
Anything called McRib should be banned.
It's alarming.
That's alarming.
That ain't rib. It's not meat. It's like imitation chihuahua.
You ate a rat when you were over in Zanzibar the other day.
I didn't eat a rat.
You ate a zebra.
I ate zebra.
And you run around. So, but you can't have a McRib. You draw the line at a McRib, but you'll have some zebra.
Because that McRib is made of Ewoks, and everybody knows it.
Okay, and you ate snake the other day. You had rattlesnake. So now all of a sudden you draw the line at fillet of fish.
I draw the line.
Okay, that's where you go.
I've eaten pigeon. I draw the line.
Okay, pigeon and rat, all the same.
Pigeon and rat are not the same. I had pigeon in Hong Kong. You know, when you're in other countries.
Bat. I'm sorry, I got them confused. Okay, well, anyway, the point of the matter is, I would challenge anyone before they disrespect me. I would challenge anyone to fry up a corn tortilla, greasy, make it greasy as all get out. Get taco meat, but make sure it has taco seasoning. I do my own seasoning, but make sure the seasoning is orangish. Orangish red. The seasoning has to be orangish red. If it's not an orangish type, if the meat is like regular color, it's wrong. Make it orange/red. Then you put the cheese. You put that in you put the just oily shell meat.
Okay.
The cheese right there. Then you lay a layer of ketchup. Just one little baby layer of ketchup. Then you put cheese again. Then you put lettuce, and if you feel like it, maybe some tomato. I don't need tomato. And then it's oily, and it just drips down right here. It just gets right here.
Just so right there, like in your forearm. So it's just
like
coming
an
on
orange
down.
Grease that comes, and you use that to lotion your body as well. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's multi-purpose.
Yeah. First of all, Detroit. Okay, you know what, Detroit? Don't do it. Don't act like you don't eat things that are awful. I watch you.
Eat things that are awful.
I watch you take down a coney dog. You like what's in a hot
coney
dog?
Dogs are amazing.
What's in a hot dog? Not a dog, literally with filling. You don't eat fillet of fish, but you eat hot dogs. I don't understand.
I don't eat them a lot, but I enjoy.
Rosa said, "I'm going to the back of the bus while she eat that chili cheese dog. She's not in the front." She said, "No way."
Until you've had a Detroit coney, you have not lived.
I have.
Right?
I have lived. I've lived a lot. Okay, well, happy Black History Month. Now we know that the civil rights movement was not about the fact that I could put ketchup on tacos. But I will tell you, this Black History Month has been something, ain't it? These Americans sure know how to tell us. This world sure know how to celebrate, don't it?
Ooh, doesn't it?
The BAFTA Awards. We didn't get to this on Monday, but in the Uber ride here, I was looking at Kev on Stage, what he posted. I guess Google had to apologize for the AI-generated content that said BAFTA Awards CNIGG, and like C, S-E-E, like see more on. And it said see more on NIGGERS. And they had to apologize because AI generated it. What?
Isn't that something, huh?
What America is this? What world is this that we live in?
Now, granted, while this is the British Film Awards that we're talking about.
That's why I said
where
world.
all of this, world. But we see that there is a certain level or amount of anti-Blackness that is just worldwide,
acceptable.
as you said.
And
it's acceptable.
It's literally acceptable because Alan Cummings, the host of that show that evening is a very well-known presenter. He's quick on his feet. He's witty. I was talking to my best friend Kendra, who works at the Oscars, about this. And she is a fan of his. And she was like, I felt like the apology was half-hearted because in her mind, she was like, he's so quick on his feet to this half-ass apology if anyone was offended. Like, no, that's a generic apology. It's like thoughts and prayers. There wasn't a
Right.
specific address to Delroy Lindo or Michael B. Jordan. And then there was, and you've pointed this out, you're asking for grace to those, you're asking the people to be, who were offended, to be more graceful because of the offender, because of his situation, because he had Tourette's. Now, this is very tricky. Let me ask you this. We do live TV all the time. What do you do in that moment when that happens? If you're in the control booth and you're not, like you are a Black person, you immediately know, you say apologize. You right away say we should apologize. You stand up and say we apologize, right?
I think so. I think Alan Cumming, that's where a lot of people thought, myself included, I agree with Kendra, where his apology missed the mark. And by the way, because I've been the last couple of days, I've been called an ableist because listen, I understand John Davison is the person who uttered the slur, and he has Tourette's. He was there because a film based off his life was up for some major awards. Totally understand that. Am sympathetic to his condition. I realize, per what all the experts say, this is involuntary. It's not something that he wants to do. But all that being said, is just because you do have this disability doesn't mean that you're not going to create harm given the nature of the disability. And for this instance, considering how publicly it happened, I saw his explanation, the statement that he put out, and to me, it fell short. And I think at the very least, he should have apologized to Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo. The other part is that, again, you can call me a villain or I guess call me ableist. I question whether or not that was the proper environment for him to be in. I'm not saying that you should be excluded from all parts of society, but we're talking about an award show that is filmed where, even as many experts have noticed, there's certain stimulants that cause those triggers and involuntary tics to surface. So is that the proper environment that someone suffering from this disability should be in, being that what he says is exposing people? Because even if you tell people, hey, by the way, we have someone here, they have Tourette's, you might hear them say some phrases, some words that could be harmful. You're prioritizing what they have to deal with at the risk of everyone else having to then adjust. Because I'm gonna be honest, reflexively, it's hard not to respond if you hear someone saying these kind of things,
Of
because
course.
according to the people there, what he said when they presented that award wasn't the
The
only
first
time
time,
he said.
yeah.
It wasn't the first time, and that he had said
The
that to
production
people.
designer, Hannah was her name, Burlas.
Yes,
She said
correct.
that he called her an N-word after the event on the way to dinner. I just want to add some context. Coprolalia is the type of, and I just pressed that, I want to make sure I said it right. Coprolalia is the type of Tourette's that he has. And I haven't shared this with you because I didn't necessarily know if it was needed. But I don't know if you're familiar with Tim Howard, the soccer player, the former soccer
Yes,
player.
yeah, of course. Mm-hmm.
He has Tourette's.
Mm-hmm.
And he has been a big advocate for Tourette's. And the other night, he sent me a message and he says, I'm not understanding what Jemele is trying to say. Because, you went on Twitter and you expressed your opinion. And he was like, is she saying that Alan Cummings was wrong for his apology, or is she saying that he should he should have apologized directly to Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan? He was trying to understand your messaging because, to your point, what you just said a minute ago, you also said that also on social. Like, I question if this was the right environment for him to be in. People who have Tourette's, and this is interesting because Tim Howard is Black and white. I believe his mom is white and his dad is Black. This is just me saying this. He didn't want any smoke. He was just looking for clarification. People who have Tourette's, I think, in his particular case, identified first as someone who has Tourette's. I'm speaking for him, and I don't know if this is true, but for me, it felt like he identified as someone who has Tourette's first, being much more empathetic than someone who is also Black. So, what a unique combination. This Black man who has Tourette's, and it's the N-word that we're discussing. he had much more empathy for this man, John Davidson, than we did, obviously. And he felt like people needed to be educated more about what this is. John Davidson also gave an interview to Variety, which I read just a few moments ago, and he was explaining that he felt awful, obviously. He says he's reached out, he's tried to apologize, but he also talked about the type of Tourette's that he has causes him to physically hurt people. He has a stepmother, and they were driving in the car, and he punched her in the face and almost caused a head-on collision. And he was saying he suffered with this for years and years and years. And normally people who have this type of Tourette's, where the tic is verbal, because Tim's isn't. Tim Howard's, from my understanding, is more of a physical tic that he gets every so often, not necessarily a verbal tic. And maybe it is verbal. I don't want to speak out of turn, but from what I've seen. And he said that John Davidson said he punched his stepmom in the face. And he was like, he almost caused a car accident. He said he couldn't control it. He was like, I've caused so many people harm, so many people in my life harm, that I usually am a recluse and I don't go out anywhere. So I'm not saying that to defend him at all, because I do agree with you. Why are you here? And more importantly, who's with you? If your handlers heard you say this, I'm sure he wasn't there by himself. If there are other people who were with you and heard him say the N-word more than once, right? From my understanding, it was 3 times. Maybe you're right. This isn't the environment that we should be in. But I don't want to really ask that question. My bigger question is, what the hell was the BAFTA Awards thinking when we found out that they could have edited that entire part out? Yet and still, they removed the Free Palestine, right? But they didn't take the time to remove the N-word, because why? And so that is the exhaustion that Black people feel right now. We are tired of being asked to give grace for when people make mistakes. This is just one more instance. I'm not going to speak to John Davidson's motives. People think he did it on purpose. I have no clue. I have no clue whether or not he did it on purpose. I don't think so. I really don't. But the reality is that it's exhausting to be told you being offended doesn't really matter that much. You being called the N-word, can you just, because how often have you been, every day, I'm in some situation where we're trying to make people feel uncomfortable about their bigotry, their racism, their inappropriate behavior, the words that they use. I remember my friend, she was married to this man, and we were sitting there, she's not married to him anymore, Black woman married to a white man. And he says, are you guys going to speak Ebonics now? What?
No,
I just looked. Yes, he did, girl. And I said, okay, I got to go. Because I wanted to then say something. So 2 things can be true. One, we can be highly offended and it can be so inappropriate and maybe he shouldn't have been there. But we also can really direct our ire at the people who were in charge of BAFTA. That word doesn't bother them. That press corps is really interesting to me. Think about the situation that's going on with that particular press corps in London, how they treat people there, how they were so disgusted with Meghan Markle. Like that whole thing, that whole paparazzi of how they have this, they really do have this I look down on you type of attitude if you are not white and of royalty. It did not offend him. That word, for me, it felt like you just rolled right off the, no big deal. They use it in rap songs. It's not a problem. Go on. It's fine. Go ahead and apologize if someone was offended.
You know, Cari, and I think you're right. Like, my frustration is not directed at John Davidson, and I want people to know that, because he didn't ask to have this condition, and at least from what I understand, what the movie really goes into is much of what you explained, how he's had to live this reclusive life because he does have the kind of condition that will do others harm, but not intentionally, but it's just the nature of what he has to live with. The part too, though, is that we have to understand that intention does not negate impact. He may not have intended, and I understand that. Like, I tend to believe you too. Like, I don't think he was trying to do this at all, or that, you know, people have theorized that, well, this is, why would he say that word of all words?
But I don't think anybody's negating the impact.
Yeah.
Do you think some people are?
I do, because I think one of the other frustrating arguments that suddenly I'm hearing what I would consider to be dishonest, ingenuous people try to make is saying that Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo shouldn't be offended because they're looking at the movie Sinners where they use the N-word
Who
in
the hell
Sinners.
said
We know
that?
this.
Who said that? Who said that? They need
Girl,
to be smacked.
you don't even want to know what the level of responses have been. And I find that to always be the case, as you mentioned, the frustration that we have and experience as Black people, and why we don't even understand as a society how deep anti-Blackness runs, is people see us so inhumanely that the idea that we would be offended, because you've heard that argument many times before about, well, y'all use it, why can't, like, I ain't even getting into that with y'all today, people.
I have
The
never
point
even
of the
heard that
matter,
argument. You getting
it's,
punched in the
yes,
mouth. You say that to me to my face. I'm all of a
correct. And
sudden
it's like,
I'm gonna have an involuntary reaction. Go ahead.
yes, or no, a voluntary one. The
A
voluntary one
voluntary
is, I'm
one, yeah.
stealing on you. I'm stealing on you. That's the voluntary one. And so getting back to the BAFTA of it all, to me, the villain is BAFTA. It's not John Davidson.
That's
It's
right.
BAFTA. Because, as you said, they had it within their control to edit this out the broadcast. They chose not to do it. There's been no credible explanation as to why. Warner Brothers brought this to their attention right away, and they said they were handling it, and they did not handle it. Because to them, it's totally acceptable for people to see Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo humiliated on the stage. Because if you go back and watch the clip, when that's shouted, Delroy Lindo literally stops, and then he sort of pushes through it,
Yeah,
because
he was like, but
he's like, okay, did that just
yeah,
really happen?
he was just like he gave a little head turn, like, and the difference. Someone did a screenshot. It's so funny. I love the internet for that. They did that generation versus this generation's reaction. Delroy was like, "Did I just hear that?" And Michael was looking like, "All right, let's steal on somebody right now." Like it was a different reaction based on where we are in society and what we're used to. Both reactions are you serious right now? But what you just said, and I want you to elaborate on that, push through. Why do we have to push through? Why are we constantly required to push through? In every fucking aspect of our lives, why are we required to push through?
Well, unfortunately, at least I can only speak to America. I don't know. Obviously, there's racism in the UK. There's racism everywhere. But the blueprint for how we deal with it in America is, okay, we get disrespected, we get dehumanized, and then the audacity to expect us to weaponize our grace against us. Meaning, if that, then it becomes our responsibility to make the people who offended us feel comfortable, which is ridiculous, right? And listen, I know some people are going to harken back to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. because he practiced nonviolence, but he did not practice a lack of accountability. That's what people forget about that, is that he always called for accountability. And yeah, he definitely believed that you should practice nonviolence, but that doesn't mean that somebody can't get checked. And we have a real problem in this country because we always burden the people who are victimized
Always.
by the racism, by the oppression. We not only pressure them into showing grace in these ungraceful situations, we then say, well, come up with all the solutions. I'm sorry, I didn't create the N-word. Y'all did.
Yeah.
So why is it up to me to figure out how y'all need to stop saying it? And let's just be very clear, Cari. It wouldn't matter. Black people could stop saying the word tomorrow, and they would still call us that.
Oh, girl,
it doesn't matter.
Girl,
like
stop.
that, our use of the word is irrelevant. And people act like within groups, there is not a certain tribal language specific to that group. Even with women, I'm going to use women as an example. Women call each other bitches all the time, playfully, rudely, whatever. It could be our love language of, bitch, what you doing? Whatever. But most men know not to call us bitches. I'm not saying they don't, but I'm just saying they know.
I'm like, well,
they know that they cannot.
Some of my
to
favorite rap songs have that word in it. You know what I mean?
They do, but they know that generally it is frowned upon to do that, and they respect they respect that line. But yet, when it comes to Black people, this whole argument that because you say it, I should say it. The only reason people make that argument is because they're pissed off that they can't say it as much as they want to. They're pissed off that there's a consequence for saying it. I have been around gay men. You have to. The way they be dropping the F word sometimes, I'll be like, ooh. But I know because I got sense That ain't my
That you
community.
can't
That's
say
not
it.
my
That's
tribe.
not your community.
I
You
can't
can't
say it.
say it. And even if they
And I
say
don't
they
want,
don't,
and I don't
and
want
you don't
to.
want to say
I
it.
don't want to.
I will
Right.
say this. I will say this about that. There are words we know that we probably could use, and they say, "Oh, I don't mind." But there is just that to me is just a lack of decorum, and that's me saying it in the highest of levels. But I just know it just wouldn't be right because I don't want you to use that freedom against me. Don't feel like because you're my friend. Like for instance, I've been in New York for 2 years on and off, and I met someone. A black guy who has a friend who is Indian, and the Indian guy always uses the N word just because that's how they grew up. They're like, in New York, that's just what it is. We just do it. We don't trip off of that. I'm like, what do you mean y'all don't trip off of that?
Who is we?
Who
Right.
is we? Who is the collective we? Because I can guarantee I can go.
They didn't put that on the agenda at the last meeting.
When we went to the cookout, they didn't say it was okay just because we grew up together. You could use that word, and that's what everyone did and use. It's unacceptable to me. It's highly offensive to me. I would not be using that word. I wouldn't be using the F word around a bunch of gay. I wouldn't use a F word, period. But I'm definitely not using it around people in that community. And it's like us running around here like we George Jefferson calling white people hunky. We ain't doing that. Even though you probably think it's funny because you just, what is Black
the
History
word
Month?
hunky is kind of funny.
It's just Black History Month. We could just get one off.
Yeah, no,
you know what? You know what, Goldilocks? I am so upset with you with the.
I know I had to swing the little hair there.
With that being said, I'm exhausted. I hate that this is still happening. I also hate that there is, to your point, a general lack of empathy for that word. I'm not saying that for it's not across the board, but it's definitely much more acceptable because if you remove Free Palestine and you can't remove the N-word, where are we at? What world are we in?
All I know is one of those you can fully say and one of them you can't. That should tell you everything. Okay. Hello. One of them you can't. That's probably the one you should remove from the broadcast.
Hi. Meaning like you can say it just out and about walking in the world without getting punched.
Yes.
Maybe not. I don't know.
I'm
maybe
in
not.
Charlotte right now. I could run downtown screaming Free Palestine and nothing will happen. But
I don't know about that.
If I ran
somebody might trip you. You might run across some people who might trip you. I don't know about that. But I mean at the most, right.
At the most. But if I ran down this main street saying the N-word, it's going to be a different response. I'm going to probably get jumped within 2 blocks. All right. So that should say something about the power of that word. Well, Cari, since we're already in this bubble of
bubble of
as
trouble,
you like to say, like, well, what bubble of trouble? What we complaining about now?
What's on the mind? That way, what we gonna say now? Well, this isn't a complaint. We're talking about.
We fully complain about this. I am not complaining about this. We're talking about the State of the Union. That was last night. The men's hockey team, they were celebrated as they should be. It was probably the only bipartisan moment of the entire night was when the men's hockey team with their gold medals. We know they just had a big victory, won the gold medal, first time in 46 years. And the women also announced that they would not. They were declining their invitation to the White House. We went over in the last episode about the phone call, and it seemed like Donald Trump was some kind of throwing some shade at the women's team. They have declined their invite to the White House. But what has been brought up as a result of this, a question that people have talked about, and even when we had our conversation about it, I saw a lot of people saying this in the mentions and in the comments, is did the women's hockey team, did they miss an opportunity by declining coming to the White House and being celebrated in the way that we saw the men celebrated on both sides of the aisle? So do you think they blew it?
You and I talked. Okay. Because when this was brought up to me, because I saw that the women were like, no, we declined. We're going to go to Flavor Flav's party. I guess Flavor Flav invited them to a party. But then someone said to me, they already had decided that they were going to not go. I don't know if that's true or not. I said, is it a bucket list item to go to the White House? Is it a bucket list item to be at the State of the Union? And the way I look at it currently is like, no, I can miss that. But I do understand this is, like you pointed out, 20 million people watch it. Exposure for the sport, exposure for women's sport. This could have elevated it in a way in which people pay attention and say, you know what, I didn't know that. Let me know more. Or let me Google more about these people. Because what did they get? Like 2 minutes. They got 2 minutes of attention. You don't really get that. It's not like they got up there and spoke. You know what I mean? So Yes and no. This is again, two things can be true. I'm just speaking from my personal lens. People who live by a certain principle, discipline, edict, ethos, whatever adjective you want to, probably strongly disagree with this president. And I believe that that was the case for some of these women on this team. You know what I mean? I think there was the LGBTQ community, IA community. They were just like, I'm not, he's offensive. Some of these women were not happy with things that were said, how they feel women are treated in general by this administration. So maybe they just said, I'm going to tap out. And that's because that's how they believe personally. But I wouldn't go. But I'm not a white woman. And I know there was the one black woman on the team, but I am not a white woman. I can't speak to what they feel. I really can't, or what those women feel. I'm speaking as a marginalized member of the community. And I don't necessarily know if these women consider themselves marginalized. Maybe they do. I wouldn't have gone, Jemele. I would have been like, I'm going to have to miss this. And that's probably my problem with a lot of things, right? Like, I will pass more often to stay comfortable, to feel safe, to be with people I love and care about than be at the party, to be at the big things. I will miss every event if it means that I am sacrificing my social well-being. I'm just at that point in my life. I just don't care. I know there was a time in which I probably would have been like, no, I'm going to the White House. Yes, I want to meet Donald Trump. Yes, I want to network. Not Donald Trump per se, but yeah, I want to go to the State of the Union. Yeah, I want to network. Yeah, I want to be caught on camera. Yes, I want to do media. I'm sure there was a time. I absolutely know. But this is not the time. Not for me anyway.
Well, I've always felt like when it came to the White House, regardless of the president, you have to do whatever it is you are led to do. And there were athletes who didn't come when Obama was the president.
That's
because
right.
They felt very strongly about policies and positions that he held. And I didn't mind. I don't care. Like, that's part of being
Tom
an
Brady
American.
was one of them, right?
Tom Brady didn't go. I mean, there's some conjecture about whether or not that was political, but let's say it was. Okay, fine.
You have the right.
He got the right to do it. And to me, that's about your personal ethos. Now, of course, I am saying this from a privileged position of having been to the White House twice. So I've already been there, done that, seen the t-shirt. But I will say this, this was, I think it was last year. I forget what year we're in sometimes. No, this was 24. So in 24, I was invited to this NAACP dinner in Detroit. That is a very big deal in Detroit. Joe Biden was going to be, or was the speaker for this event. And they asked if I wanted my photo with Joe Biden, and I declined. And
Why?
A big reason why I declined is because I personally have felt uncomfortable with his policy and his philosophy behind our unconditional, unquestioned, and unchecked support of Israel. It's not that I don't support the Israeli people. I do, for sure. But I think that the way that we have managed our relationship with this particular iteration of the Israeli government deserves critique. And I was uncomfortable with some of the positions that he was taking. So I said, no thanks. All right. And so now, would I have thought that had I not been to the White House twice? I don't know.
But friend, you fail to remember, this is such a tricky situation. I first of all respect that sentiment. But I was with you when we went to say au revoir to Kamala, his VP.
Correct.
And I watched you push down 5 little kids to take a picture with her. I literally watched you put a child in a headlock and then toss the child.
I did. I may have soufflexed the child.
I did 1,000%. I saw you take a kitten and throw it on top of the White House roof. So I was right there with you though. I was like, let's get our photo. We was over here. So what is the difference between taking a picture with Joe and then taking one with Kamala?
So here's the difference.
Because everyone was all in agreement. By the way,
she's part of the administration with this general position.
And yes,
okay. So
and I love me some Kamala. So I'm just asking you, what's the difference?
So the difference to me is that her position, and it is so funny because I'm headed to Detroit to interview Kamala Harris. I know. And
that's
this is definitely going to come up.
Yeah.
Is her position wasn't the same as his. Now, was it?
What was her position? Because I thought they were together.
It was. So here's the nuance, and without getting into a whole discussion on it, but her position is slightly different in the sense of it was very clear how she felt about uh, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Okay.
Very clear.
Yeah.
And, she's made this position known, not to get too deep into the weeds. Now, does she still support the government funding Israel? I think she does. Yes. And there's some nuance there in the way in which she supports it versus Joe Biden. And I think maybe partly what cost her the election is she didn't make those differences known.
Yeah.
So, or
that's what we're hearing now.
Point,
that's what we're hearing now.
You're
with
right.
Reports.
That's the report now. So that would be a little bit different. And also, Joe Biden is the boss. The vice president is not. So there's also the difference. Like, he sets the policy for the government,
and that also is, and that's also probably what cost her the election.
Correct. So, without getting too deep in the political weeds, that was part of it. And there's a different level of history to be made. Look, Barack Obama had a similar position to Joe Biden, but I also acknowledge he's the first Black president.
Well, see, and that's where, and so that's where we live. I think,
yeah.
I think in those instances, I think that back to our initial agreement, ethos, what I believe, what I'm seeing, I understood what Kamala, I didn't understand, but I gave Kamala more grace. I gave Obama more grace. And that was our personal choice. That's what I decided to do.
And let me just really quickly say this about Joe Biden. It was also the timing of which this was happening. And realize this dinner is in Detroit. There were thousands of people protesting outside of the dinner based off this issue in the conflict of Gaza and the conflict in Gaza. Detroit has the most, we have the most Arab citizens outside of the Middle East. Yeah. So, like, the issue is very stark and real and different there. And I felt that. And I was like, you know what? The last thing I want to do, especially considering, how emotionally I feel about Detroit, is post some smiling ass picture of me with Joe Biden, knowing that this issue hits a lot differently in the city of Detroit.
Yeah. For some people, though, there's no difference between those two, unfortunately.
Yes. And I understand that. I mean, and I won't say that that's unfair, but part of it is in the lack of communication about what that issue.
I think the women made the choice, bringing it back to full circle. I think they made their own choice. I think they knew what they wanted. It was what they believed. They probably decided as a group that that's what they were going to do, and so be it. Did they miss out on an opportunity?
I think that's totally fine.
If they miss out on an opportunity, yeah, maybe. Maybe to grow the sport, maybe. I don't know. But what I do know is that you want to be able to sleep at night. I mean, that's the phase that I'm in my life.
That's
the same way that you want to take that photo. This is where I'm like, this don't sit right with my spirit. Speaking of something that's not sitting right with my spirit, we didn't get into March 10th. What's today's date?
Today is February 25th.
How many more days do we have to be Black in Black History Month?
Don't make, you know what? Apparently we have.
Do the math.
Asking a journalist to do the math.
2 + 2 = 3.
We only have 3 days left.
Okay.
Carrie.
Okay.
So we are apparently celebrated.
March 10th is the deadline for the WNBA. They need to, allegedly, according to the WNBA, the PA needs to come to some sort of agreement by March 10th so they can get all the things done, which means they need to come up with an agreement, a collective bargaining agreement by March 10th. That is the deadline. That means that they are probably negotiating day and night, night and day, so that they can have, we hope, so they can fulfill your prophecy of having a WNBA season. I still am on the fence because if these ladies, if rev share is what they are dealing with, and if rev share is their sticking point, meaning they want more rev share, I think right now it's at 14.5%, maybe 15%. I somewhere in there. And they started off at 40, and they haven't really, they being the WNBA, hasn't really moved the needle. I think that maybe 25% can get them there. I don't even know if the WNBA is willing to give them that much because from my understanding, the league said that that's just not feasible. That percentage is not feasible for the organization to run as a solid business. I then am hearing that the ladies of the WNBA would have to obviously capitulate. If you think there is going to be a season, Jemele, the ladies would have to capitulate to a much smaller portion of revenue share. And I know you think that everybody's just sticking their chests out and cooler heads will prevail. But the question I'm going to ask you is, do you think the WNBA, the league itself, Adam Silver, Kathy Engelbert, will give these women more? Rev
I
share.
do.
How
I
much
do.
more?
So to quote that great philosopher, Dr. Strange, we're in the end game now. Okay.
Okay.
We're in the end game now. All right. We got 13 days to get some kind of deal done.
Okay.
I think and this is where the cooler heads on both sides need to prevail, is
Okay.
that you have to me, in a negotiation, you have to make the other side feel like they won something. And so I think personally, if they get to the 20s, that could be anywhere from 20, because the women came down, right? They started with 40. Remember, NECA told us on this fine program, they dropped to 28. So they've already conceded something. If you're the owners in the WNBA and Adam Silver and Kathy Engelberg, you're at 15. Just get to 20. Just get anywhere between 20 and 23. And I promise you, it's shut them down. Let's go home, or let's go play some ball. And running with this lie that is unsustainable is not going to work. It's like, do you want to make this money or not? Caitlin Clark's going to be healthy. She is healthy. Do you want to make this money or not? Angel Reese is ready. You trying to make this money or not? You got 5 new franchises coming into the WNBA. And we have already seen from this particular group of women, they ain't the 1, the 2, or the 3. They have other side jobs they will do. They will play overseas, but they know that there's a certain tone and foundation that they need to set. So instead of digging into ceremony and trying to look like you've won, when you know you could come up, it's like, just give them 20-something%. Considering we started this entire conversation but with people thinking, or there being reports that they wanted half. They didn't ask for half. You got to the 20s. Considering they were at 9%, they can comfortably say, we doubled the rev share. We doubled it. So give them the victory. Everybody has a narrative to sell. You'll be able to sell the narrative that during a critical moment in the league's history, you stepped up as an owner and as leadership. They'll be able to sell, we stepped up for our players. Everybody wins.
From a PR perspective, I don't think that the league is winning. I think the league thinks they're winning because people normally blame the players. And maybe they are. But just from my perspective, it feels very heavy-handed. It feels like they're bullying them, and it feels like they're trying to micromanage, control the narrative, this leaking of information, giving it to the reporters who will only tell their side of the story. I know that's just how that goes in our business. But it feels like especially with NECA coming on this program, it felt like she got some pushback on that, and they weren't happy. It felt like she came on here and she was still very professional and very eloquent. She didn't go as ham as she could have, right? And in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is a good employee in theory. But these corporations or businesses or leagues that are run like these types of corporations really feel like if you step out of line, you're in trouble. Like, I almost feel like NECA was in a perfect position because I'm not saying she's at the end of her career, but she is a vet. And however many years she has left, I don't necessarily know if there will be any type of, blackballing. Like, she won't get in trouble, if you will, because she only got a couple of years left. I know she has other deals going on. I don't know if she has a couple of years left. But my point being is that they can't really
She's
punish
toward the
her.
end of her career.
Yeah, they can't be punitive is the word that I'm trying to get at. They can't be too punitive towards her for speaking out. And I think she's the right one, to your point. But I really don't like this leaking of information, this PR campaign that these women are being difficult and they're a problem. And back in the day, they didn't have to deal with this. And respect to our legends because they know what they want. And I'm like, come on now, what are they going to do? What are they going to do when the league is now filled with all of these NIL players who've made lots of money, more money than they'll ever make in the WNBA while they were in college? What are they going to do when these women walk in with swag, expectation, and DGAF approach? What are they going to do then? How are they going to control them then? When you're talking, because you got someone like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, they don't need the money. Caitlin wants to play, clearly. Angel's like, all right, y'all, she seems to be like, all right, I want to play, but if I don't worry. They are under the impression that, to your point, that the ladies really do need the WNBA, and the majority of them do. But I think that they are willing to stand firm on this. And so that's why I'm all like, yo, I don't know if our season's starting on time, dear friend. I just don't know.
And understand that has huge financial ramifications because, if there are empty arenas, the team has to pay for that, right? So it's like if you have all of a sudden games that are not being played, the billionaires are going to absorb the cost. I don't feel sorry for them, don't get me wrong. But now that the league is at a point now where it is not just a charitable investment, it's a real investment that can bring in a lot of money. You don't want to blow it trying to prove that you're mightier than the players because it doesn't get you anywhere. Like you guys have now invested way too much money.
Yeah.
Give them a little bit to make them feel like they won. Just give
me
them a little bit.
That's it. This is how I think about dating. You know what I mean? I don't have to be with a rich man, but can he give me some extra guac? Give these ladies some extra guac.
Some extra guac. Okay.
That's all these ladies
Not
just
extra
want.
ketchup. Notice you didn't say extra ketchup.
Because ketchup is free. Guac costs. When you when you walk into Chipotle and you're like, oh, I have a little extra guac. You're like $2, like $2. I'm like, wow. The lady's just asking for a little extra guac. That's a perfect example. You don't have to break the bank, but can I get some extra guac, my G? Can I get some extra guac? Does Ian get you extra guac? When y'all go out?
He will get me extra guac. He will. He'll be like, hey,
you got a good man.
Some cheese on the girl.
He let you get extra cheese?
Good man.
He let you get extra cheese and guac?
Extra cheese and guac.
Jemele,
that's why things good at home, Cari.
I don't know if they good at home. Not while you show up here with these. Now you up here making love to the camera with the extra all that, the Goldilocks and all that makeup on now. Look, who what you doing? Where you going? What you doing in Charlotte?
I'm in Charlotte.
Doing what?
I'm in Charlotte. I have a speaking engagement.
Wink,
here
wink.
to talk to the fine. You know what?
She's got a speaking engagement.
This is why you can't have friends.
Turn that camera around because I know you're in a hotel. What's his name? Leroy? Turn the camera around. Let me see what's going on in there. Where Leroy
Cari,
at?
I'm an old married woman. I've retired from these streets. My jersey in the rafters. I'm retired. I'm retired.
First of all, the problem is we're so close. There's two things that happen here. One, what is that saying? That's okay. All right, we'll cut that part out. There's a note that said Jemele is not retired. She a hooker. And I was like, take that off. I said, take that off. Don't talk about my friend like that. It's gone? Okay, good. No. She said, Don't you auntie me with your
I'm going to auntie you. Like,
don't auntie
as
me
I flip
with your
my hair.
Okay, Goldilocks. Let me tell you something. The problem with this, when we have these conversations, I know we can have as much fun as we want and we can go as far as we want to go. But I don't want Ian coming at me one day like, let me holler at you for a second. I want Ian mad at me.
Now listen, because I don't know what's going to happen the next time you drive by the crib. I can't say.
Tell him I tried to stop you from taking the rose. I tried to stop you from taking the rose from Sean Stockton. I tried. I did my best. I jumped in there and said, don't do it. Ian won't like it.
You know what's so funny about that? So we just played in the NAACP golf tournament the other day. And Johnny Gill won the tournament.
My.
Johnny Gill also gave me a rose and a hug. Won the tournament. And Ian was perfectly nice and well behaved. It was no beef. I was worried he might try to put a little poison in Johnny's food, but it was all good.
Well, because he would look crazy. He can't poison Johnny. You're like, come on.
No, he wasn't.
You could have punched him, but you can't poison him.
No, everything was totally fine. So it was.
Is everything okay?
It was wonderful.
Is everything okay at home?
Everything is darling.
That's what the comments say. I said I'm gonna stop reading the comments. Comments want to know is everything okay at home.
Know what?
You over posting Ian.
I wear a little makeup and look what happens.
All this gloss on your lips.
All of a sudden, it's got to be a problem at home.
All these lashes, all these inches and lashes. Everything okay at home?
You know what?
Is Leroy?
Just for that, when we do our next
you got a lot
episode,
of speaking engagements.
I'm gonna be looking.
You got a lot of speaking engagements.
You know what? That's why on Friday I'm gonna look homely. I'm looking homely on Friday. So I
like you like this.
I trust me. I'm gonna wake up and I'm just gonna roll to the studio and y'all just gonna get what y'all get.
No,
Since y'all
don't
want
do
to
that.
clown
Come,
me so bad.
No, come in here and be hot. Just show your titties and stuff like that. No,
Definitely won't
No.
be doing that. No, won't be doing
now
any of that.
now she's a professional. We hope you guys enjoyed this
Now I'm
edition.
appropriate.
And now she appropriate of Flagrant and Funny. We both were flagrant and hopefully funny. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Jamele's microphone done fell off. She nervous. What's going on over there? Tell Leroy, girl,
This
I saw
microphone
his
just
hand.
quit on me.
I saw his hand.
You know
No,
what?
we called her,
You know
y'all.
what? You
We
are a
called her. I
fool.
just saw a black hand with some guac on it.